Hey everyone, it's Jamie, and today I'm going to show you my version of a molcajete. I think I'm saying that right. Anyway, guacamole holder, if you will. We just did this in a class, and the students requested that I put this on video as a way to go back and check things out. So I have different versions here with different feet sizes and different levels of decoration. So we'll get into all of that in a moment. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is get the slab ready to put on top of the mold. And I'm just going to use my pony roller to give it a little evenness, because as you know, slab rollers are not even. Anyway, this looks good. The next thing I'm going to do, and this is helpful, if you have all the time in the world, that's great. But sometimes if you want to speed up the process getting it off the mold, you might want to put a single ply bit of tissue on your slab. So if you're going to go with a smaller form, this is the mold that we're going to use. If you're going to go with a smaller form, then do a smaller thing of tissue. And once again, single ply. Right now that that's on, I'm going to go ahead and put that on the form. Looks like I got a little wrinkle there. That's all right. All right, so how much slab did I need for this? What I did is I just took my tape measure and I went side to side, and I saw that I needed 13 inches for this form. So I'm just think about going down in a spiral, and each time I'm going, and when I get to something like this, sometimes you have to lift up before and after to get it to go. This is a crease from the sheet, and I'm not concerned about that. I'm going to wipe that out as I go around. Now my goal is not to go to the bottom of this. I just want to get maybe close to it, maybe an inch from the bottom. Okay, so this is bugging me. I'm just going to take care of it now. It's always a good idea that once your form is on the mold, is just to go over the whole thing with a rib. You want to make sure that it's really sticking. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to center it on here, because I want to find the center of this bowl for future use. All right, that's great, because it's hitting the mold all the way around. So now I'm just drawing more circles till I get to the center. All right, I think that's close enough. So I got my center there. I'm going to just make a dot. All right, like a bullseye. And now I'm going to cut. When I'm cutting, I don't want to use a needle tool against plaster. I want to use a wood tool. So I'm just going to keep digging in with my wood tool and pull down and away. Don't pull up, just pull down and away. So this one's ready to go. I'm gonna let it set up and show you my alternative way of doing it with a non-plaster mold. So this is just a ball I got at the grocery store, and I'm going to use it. I'm not going to do the tissue with this one, because I'm going to use plastic, and that's going to keep it from sticking to the ball. So I'm just going to take plastic here, take a hair tie or a rubber band, whatever you want, and then stick it into a bowl. Set it off to the side. I'm doing two hands here because this it's a little precarious on this ball. So I just want to make sure I'm not going to slip and slide. Keep the clay in place while I'm going around. And I can see that it's not exactly centered, so I'm going to make adjustments as I go along. Just have patience when you're doing these things. It takes time to get it all the way down. It's not going to happen in one fell swoop. I'm doing a hump mold here, but you could always do slump into a bowl too. You don't have to do it this way. I just thought it would be fun to show on a ball. A little more tricky with plastic because the clay wants to stick to it. But once again, you pull down and away. So I'm going to let that set up, and now we can jump to doing feet. So this is the pattern I'm going to use for my feet, for both of them. And on one set I'm going to leave it plain. On the other I'm going to do a texture. So let me put this down here. I'm saving these strips for later on in decoration. So I'm going to repeat the same thing over here on this strip, but they're going to be plain. I'm going to do decoration post attachment. Putting these feet together is pretty simple. What you're going to do is bevel one side and then flip it and bevel the other. And I like doing this when the clay is wet. I don't really need to do slip and score with wet clay. You're going to need bottoms for these pieces, so what I like to do is use cutters, and I estimate what they will be. I just do this. I pick the right one, and I'm going to just cut out some for later, and I'll put these under plastic. These ones are okay to firm up. All right, so we'll be back when we're ready to attach legs. Okay, it's like almost 100 degrees here in California right now, so things move fast. These are both ready to come off, and I wanted to just show, if you look at this, you can kind of see it starting to, go squeeze in on the ball, and it's nice because the ball gives way, so it's not going to be a problem. I'm going to go ahead and take it off, and the way that I'm going to do that is first take off my hairband. Oh, I was looking for that. Anyway, release the ball. And now I can release the plastic. Now, before I do anything else with it, I have some rough edges, so I'm just gonna take a metal tool and smooth those out. Take a look at the inside. So that's the plastic. I'm gonna have to do some smoothing on the inside as well, but let's put that over here for now. And let's take a look at this guy. So you can see where it was originally. So that's what I like to look for before I take it off. I mean, I do feel the bottoms to see if they're good. And this is leather hard now. But I also look to see, hey, has it traveled? So because I put the tissue, this should just come right off. There it goes. That's what the inside looks like. One of the options I could have done while this was still on the mold is attach the feet. So I'm just going to show it this way because that's the way I would have to do with the ball. And so now that I have this down here on my bat, I feel confident with the center here that I did. So I'm not going to test that again. I'm going to set up everything based on this. Now on my other one, I'm going to refine or do the centering process again and see where the center is. What I like to do is create these little triangles, and then in a graphics package I find the center of them, and then I use that with a needle tool and I direct that and I just let it come down here, and then this point becomes the direction of where I'm going to put the foot. And I might just do a line instead to make it a little easier. the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the feet. I'm using the plain feet for this one, and figure out where on here do I like it. And I think what I want to do is position it so that the foot here is most level. So once I know that, then what I can do is mark that in place. So I'm going to just do that here. Okay, so that one is in place. Now what I want to do is I want to make sure all the other ones are in the same location. And to do that, I'm going to put this back on here. And then I'm going to just draw a line based on this one. So now I can just make sure that my other feet will go along the same location. So here's this one, and I'm going to line it up with the line that I drew earlier. Okay, my spots are all drawn. Now it's time to do slip and score or scratch and attach. Before I press too hard on these, I'm going to get a board just to see if all the legs are level and make any adjustments I need to if necessary. Hey, that's perfect. Now I can go ahead and put the coils in place. Alright, so I'm going to pause and just complete the coils around here, and I'll come back about adding on the tops of the feet. So as you can see, I've attached all the legs, and now I'm going to put on the tops. The other thing you could do at this time is I don't need the center anymore, so I'm just going to take my rib and smooth it out. One of the reasons I like putting on the legs later like this is when you're attaching, if you deform these in any way, you can just go inside and push out. And then now it's got all the scoring done, so I'm just going to slip. And then I'm not going to slip these. These are still fresh. I had these under plastic, so they don't need to have a scoring on them. So once you've used your pony roller to push them down, then go with your rib, like a metal rib or a credit card, and just go and take off the excess that went over on the leg. Really important last part is to go ahead and puncture each leg to let the oxygen escape so you don't have cracks. So this now is ready for any decoration on the rim, and then decoration on the legs if I want. So I'm going to go ahead and complete the others, and when I come back I'll show you the last steps. Now I want to show you the inside. This is that inside with all the lines. So I'm going to do my best here to fill that up. First things first, I'm going to get rid of that hole in the middle. So I'm just taking a little wad of clay. I'm going to shove that in there. Then I'm going to take a sprayer and just get the edges wet. And using my hand with support, I'm just going to go around and around until those smooth out. If you have really deep grooves, you can always take a little bit of clay, fill in the groove, and then go back over it. I think that's pretty good. I'm going to let it go. And now we're going to talk about the treatment of the rim. So I'm just duplicating what I did yesterday, and what I'm going to do is put on an extra decorative piece and a little applique. So this piece up here is the same texture that I used down here. This is one of my earlier strips left over, and all I did was I rolled it a little bit thinner. Now, to understand, you could either try to create one big, long, continuous strip, but I'm wanting to just do in thirds, and then I have my little applique to cover the seam. So I don't have, it's less stress to do that. So I have to figure out what that is. And if you want to know it, you're going to just measure this and then times it 3 for the whole, and then divide it by 3. So it's really just measure across the top, and that's how long you know the strip is to be. May give yourself a little bit of change on that. So 8 inches. So I need 3 8-inch strips. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on here. I'm going to save these little bits for the applique pieces. And then I have this, this is about a 5/8 wide piece of strip of wood, and I use it for a lot of my trimmings, so I'm just going to do that. Before I cut and commit, I'm going to just try one of the strips out. So my goal is to make it from the middle of here to the middle of here. So most of the overlap is going to be on the outside. The inside only has maybe 1/8 of an inch. I decided not to cut these at 8 inches because I'm cutting them here at the foot. And that way, if I was off on my 8 inches, which I don't think I would have been, then I would have extra. I wouldn't have had it. Anyways, I would have had to deal with that, and so now I don't. All right, before I get this away, I want to make my little appliques, and I think I'm just going to use this texture here, so I'll put 2 here. I'll do 1 down here. Then I'm going to get a small cutter. I'm going to take my metal rib and take away some of this overlap on the inside. So I want a smooth transition. I don't want to have, when I clean this out, you know, have a ridge here. So to do that, metal rib. I'm just going to go down, cut in and go down. See what's happening there? That nice sharp edge. What's the point of having extra ridge on here? Or it was always ingrained in me that if you have a thicker rim, it's less likely to warp. So I think I am doing that for this, but I also like the decoration of it. Well, I'm almost done. The next thing for me to do is to put on the little appliques. I'm scoring just where the join was. That's it for this guy. I think I would still need to come back when it's firmed up even more to do a little bit of the green padding around the legs. I don't want to touch it right now, but I think this guy's done. Now that that's finished, I would put this under plastic to let it firm up and dry slowly. The next thing I wanted to talk about was decorating my other one, which was plain. So I'm going to be talking about adding a sprig or 2. All right, before I get into the decoration of the legs, I wanted to come back and address this one, which has the tissue in it. Sometimes you can get lucky and just, you know, a part will be hanging out and you could just grab it and pull the whole thing. Other times you're going to have to maybe take a rib and just work at it that way. So, what I'm doing now is I'm going to just let it dry on here and then I'll take it off later. But I want to get it away from the rim where I'm going to attach another decorative element. Now, some studios are okay with paper burning in the kiln. And you could certainly let it just burn out if you wanted to do that, if your studio was good with that. At our studio, we don't really like that. So I'm going to try to take it out you know, before I put it back for firing. So for this one, I'm going to try a little bit different rim treatment. I'm going to go ahead and score it like I did the other one. All right, so I'm going to let that set up. I put plaster over it while I prepare the decorations that are going to go down the legs. Just real quick, I know I said I'd go into applique next, but I wanted to show you, I left this unchecked and now I have a crack in it. So all is not lost. I'm going to repair it, and so you get to see how I would repair this. So basically I'm going to open it up even more. So I'm going to dig into the crack, and then let me take this off. No surprise, comes off easy. And then over here I'm going to dig into it as well. So now I'm going to take some vinegar, put that on there, put some vinegar on the outside too, and dig into it again. Okay, it's pretty mushy right now. Now I'm going to take a little bit of clay like this, and I'm just going to put it over the ends, and I'm going to start smushing it in together. Both fingers are applying pressure at the same time. I'm really pushing it in there. All right, and I found my small metal rib. I'm going to use that. Actually, I'm going to use the rubber rib. I'm going to just gently take away the excess clay. So with this guy, I'm going to probably let it set up overnight with its repair in place, and then continue the decoration of it. We'll see. We'll see what kind of mood I'm in. The other thing too is adding a rim across here is going to help it stick together too. But the deep repair is done. Now this goes right back under plastic. Okay, so now you get to watch me explore textures that I'm going to put on my piece. So the one that we started out with the ball, this is the inspiration or the original piece. I didn't have to do much, I just did the applique. But now I'm going to think about putting on, you know, extra detail. So you can tell, like this is one of the original ones I did for my class. I did more of a square foot, and then I just had this one medallion on here, and this is just iron stained. Anyway, that's one of the options, just a single decoration. This one is kind of funny. It's a smaller piece. I wanted a demo on a smaller mold, and I had all these leftover sprigs, so I just piled them on. So it's tiny, but sprig full. Anyway, it's cute. I like it. It's not very deep for guacamole, but anyway, it could be salsa. I don't know. But let me show you how I got these. And then conversely, you know, this is one of my demo ones at the end of class, and I'm just like, I just want to be done. And I have one. So it looks kind of lonely. It's okay. I don't know. All right, so let's talk about these sprigs that I have. So I got these from an Aztec book. I printed them. I printed it onto foam, and then I pressed it into clay like this, and now it's become a sprig. So the way that I would work and apply this is apply some cornstarch. You might not need to do it for the first time, but I'm just in the habit of doing it. And you're going to roll in and make sure it's in every nook and cranny. And then what I do is I take a credit card and I start from the middle and I start punching out. Now when I just did that just now, part of the top decoration came out, so I'm just going to go back and fill it. So I'm just rotating it and taking out the excess clay. Now, a little tip for what you should do before you take it out of the sprig is maybe go through and apply your scoring tool. That way it makes it easier when you're going to add it on. So now I'm just going to tap it. There it is. Ta-da! So I have a little bit I need to clean up from this side. Isn't that pretty? It's cute. All right, so you could sit here and make a bunch of stuff and then just put it under plastic and wait to apply. So that's doing that. Another option would be to maybe use existing stamps that you have. So I'm going to roll this one into a ball, and I'm going to take my MKM recently Anzica purchase and a little bit of cornstarch, and now I'm just going to push down on it. So now I have this cool lizard. So in looking at this, I feel like this is probably too chunky. So I might have started off, I needed to do a smaller chunk of clay to be happy with that one. Let's just try it now since I'm talking about it. That's actually really cool. It's really deep, but the ends are thinner than the original one. I would consider using that on my piece. So let's put that aside. This one I'm going to toss because it's too thick. This one I thought would be really fun to use, but I don't know if it's too big. So this, of course, is too thick, but I think when I roll it onto here, it'll thin it out. So I'm going to put it on here, kind of squarish. The cool thing about the lady who provides these textures here is that she has all these pots that she shows how the texture looks like after the glaze. So it's very fun just to go look and see what she does. Anyways, I'm going to try that out here in a minute, see if I like that. I also have a bunch of these MKM in addition to the lizard. These are also ones that are petroglyph-like, I guess, or more Native American. So these would be fun on there. I wanted to show you also ones that are like this. So these can be fun. I think this is a really nice one for what we're doing here. I'm also going to show this little sun up here. Once again, start in the middle and then go outwards because I don't want to raise the edges. And now with these guys, you just have to pull back like that. Boom. Look at that. Pretty. And same with this guy too. This one's a little bit more difficult. It's not as spongy as this one, if that's a word. So I might have to do the old trick of doing that. I also made a copy of this one from work. I haven't used it yet, so I'm going to try it. That's kind of cool. I like that one. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. All right, well, clearly I have a lot of choice here, and I'm just going to have to look through everything and decide what I'm going to do here. Now that I have these scored, it's just as simple, except for this one, it's just a simple matter now of applying the slip and applying where I'm going to put it and then putting it on. So I'm going to play around with these a little bit more, and then I'm going to show the grand reveal once they're all done. Okay, so here we are back for the grand reveal. I ended up going with the big stickers. I ended up going with the large stamps. I'll have a link to the website where you can find these rubber stamps. Anyway, I really liked, because I had such a big foot, I don't know, it just I seemed to be drawn to that. I don't know, if I had more time, I would maybe do something along here, but I'm not. I'm just going to leave it simple like this. Also, quick way I got out the single ply was just to spray in here and then used my metal rib, and that took out a lot of the paper. I still see little bits, but I'm not concerned about that. So that's this one. For my baby one, I just went with the little cacti. Super cute. And then of course you saw the other. This is the duplicate of the one I made yesterday. And that's the final one for that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you try it out. It's good fun. And catch you next time. Thanks. Bye.